Travel for people with ADHD can be incredibly overwhelming, especially because there's a lot of the unknown, there's a lot of stressful situations, and all of this can take a toll on ADHD in the way that our bodies react. So these are 8 things that I personally do when I travel to help me manage my ADHD the best way I can. So just a preface, I do a hell of a lot of traveling. Sometimes it feels like my feet don't even hit the floor before I'm off again. I am overqualified to talk about this topic. Hey friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Jay, and like I've said, and as you'll gather from the title of this video, I'm going to be discussing the 8 key things that I do in terms of being able to manage my ADHD in the best possible way. I've done a huge range of traveling. I've done short trips and stayed in England. I've done trips over to Europe, and I've gone to America and New Zealand. So I've done, I think, possibly all of the extremes. So these are just the 8 things that I come up with that personally help me in terms of managing my own ADHD. So we're just going to dive straight in to our list. Tip number 1, find your reliable support person. This is kind of on the basis that you're not traveling by yourself. Personally, if I was traveling alone, I think I would have like multiple panic attacks. I don't know if I'd be able to cope. I don't know if I'd be able to manage. However, I always make sure that I'm going with a reliable travel person or travel buddy. And in this scenario, it is my partner Blake. So he is always the one there, and he is the person that knows how to best support me. And I think that would be really helpful if you guys are looking to travel and you find a buddy, you find somebody that knows you the best or knows kind of what your needs are, so that you don't have to sort of go through explaining it to somebody else. Or I mean, for me, if I'm around somebody and I feel a bit funny, sometimes I can't verbalize exactly what I need or exactly what I want or how I'm feeling. So having your safe person makes a massive difference. And as an extension of that, find your roles within that relationship dynamic. For example, Blake is the one that is really good at finding places to book, like hotels. He's a lot better at geography than I am, so he kind of just has an awareness of what's possible, what's not possible, and that just takes a lot of stress off of my back. And then in terms of my role and where I thrive is once we have a place where we know we want to go, I look at all the things to do, what's fun, what kind of museums are there, what kind of activities you can do there, maybe some restaurants. We work really well in that dynamic that he plans it, he can tell us where we have to be at what time. You know how it is with time blindness. He can control all of that situational stuff, whereas I can control the things that my brain finds fun, if that makes sense. So those 2 for me kind of go hand in hand. Your supportive partner of whatever relationship that might look like to you, whether it's a friend, a family member, a partner, but then establish clear roles as well within the team dynamic, if that makes sense. That's something that really helps me. So that is number 1, buddy system. Point number 2 is a complete non-negotiable for me, and that is headphones. I have to have my headphones with me. Even if I'm not listening to anything, it takes me out of that kind of like hustle and bustle. Like catching a flight or going to a busy city can kind of be overwhelming for me. So sometimes just popping on your headphones can really create this kind of bubble of protection in a weird way, or at least it does for me. And if you're that kind of person that does that as well, make sure you've got some decent headphones that don't trigger you. So what I mean by that is the ones that go like right in my ears, they trigger me. I can't deal with those. I have to have like the overhead ones, and they work for me a lot better. So make sure that you've got some good headphones that you're comfortable with. Maybe line up like a music playlist on Spotify or an audio book, just anything that can pull your brain out of itself and gets it focusing on something else instead, so you're not constantly being completely overwhelmed. The amount of situational awareness is just crazy, so you're not completely overwhelmed with everything that's happening around you. You can just kind of zone in on what's going on and listen and just kind of zen down in your brain. For me, that is a massive help. And even if it's not hectic and you're just generally overthinking and your brain is just whirring as it always does, sometimes that just really helps to pull you out of it, and you can go, okay, listen to this, and then you're kind of free from it. I don't know if any of that makes sense. I think if you've got ADHD then it will make sense, but headphones are like a massive non-negotiable for me. I go everywhere with my headphones. They're always in my bag. Also, if they are Bluetooth, don't forget to take a charger that will fit them as well, because you don't want to be caught short taking your headphones, then not being able to use them because they ran out halfway through your trip. Number 3 is to find a distraction activity that works for you. And this kind of relates to the headphones thing. So if audiobooks work really well for you, then fantastic. For me, when I travel, I also take my Nintendo with me, so that if I just need to decompress, then that's what I use. Like, it's a massive decompression tool for me. Is if I'm overwhelmed, I can just go into a game and forget everything that's going on, and that really helps me. So you might want to take a book, you might want to take a Switch or gaming console, whatever your preference is, a magazine, a crossword book, a Sudoku book. Like, there's so many different things you can take with you, and it has to kind of be your thing that you're into, something that your brain's not going to get bored with. That's kind of why I like taking my Switch so much, is because I've got a couple of games on there. I can switch through the games as I want to. I can obviously gain progress in those games, and yeah, it really helps take me away from a situation and just be able to unpack all of the stress from the day. Having an activity to help decompress and distract is a massive thing. And for me as well, I'll always take a minimum of 2, just so I do have that variation. So I'll always usually take with me my Nintendo and a book as well. And always try and make sure that it's an author that you know you like, or maybe a book that you've read before and you know you'll enjoy, because I have been there where I have had no game, I've had one book, the book has been terrible, and I have to force myself to read it because I need something. So make sure that you've got something that you really enjoy and can really sort of clutch to when you need it. Point number 4 is to make sure that you have a thorough plan and itinerary. If you've got a thorough plan, then it's less likely for things to go wrong, and having a plan helps to calm any anxiety that you might have. So what I like to do before I go on a trip is I try and do like a day-by-day plan, and it doesn't have to be set in stone. It's not like forever, it's fine, you can deviate from the plan, but having a plan to go, okay, day 1 we've got the option to do XYZ, you know, you've got this, having that sort of day-to-day scheduling really helps me in terms of knowing where I am, what I need to do, and making the most out of my trip as well. And obviously, like I say, it's not set in stone, so if you find yourself getting overwhelmed, you can always cut some things from the list that you have, but it really just helps me to have a good Google search of what's around, what's to do, and then plan your days and plan a little rough itinerary, so you're not there on the day as well going, oh, okay, where should we go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. We don't know the area, we don't know what we're doing. You kind of just flap around and waste time. For me, like I say, because I've got ADHD, when you've got a schedule that you kind of have to keep to and a plan, it's so much more easy to follow. Whereas if you haven't, it's very easy for you to get overwhelmed and bogged down because you can't make a decision, you can't decide, and there's all these thoughts going around your head alongside what you have to do. It's too much, okay? So just get your plans down, get your itineraries down. Number 5 is a big one for me again, so it relates to the scheduling. Build a routine as quickly as possible. Without a routine, you can feel completely lost. Like I say, you're just flapping around, you've not got anything down. But if you have a routine where you try and do the same thing every day, like maybe you have a routine at home where you wake up at the same time every day and you go to bed the same time every day, try and stick to that as much as possible. And if you're going on like a holiday, I understand it's not always possible, but just trying to keep that routine within your sleep cycle, for one, will be a massive helper. Just the cycle in your body and the way your body moves and its sort of muscle memory, that will again be a massive game changer in terms of being able to handle stress and manage any kind of overwhelm. If you know that you're going to eat same time every day and you're going to fit your activities in between there, it just really helps to take any stress out of the whole process. Because if you're not sure when you're going to eat, you might be walking around trying to look for somewhere and you're getting hungry and grumpy, and there's so many things that can then snowball from that, and that's what we're trying to avoid, is the snowballing effect that creates this overwhelmed stress situation and then eventually causes this outburst or meltdown at the end. And I've been there, I've done that, and it's not very nice. It's not very nice for the people around you. Just try and get everything sort of planned out, structured out as much as possible. Because people with ADHD, we thrive on structure, okay? When you're having to do the structure yourself, it ain't always easy, but build that routine for yourself, build those healthy habits for yourself, and it will be a lot easier to manage traveling and exploring the world. Number 6 is, as soon as you get somewhere, as soon as you get to a place, go and explore straight away. And I know this might sound a little bit counterintuitive since I'm like, plan and have a routine, but the first thing you do when you get to a new place, go out, go and suss out the area, go and see what the area immediately around you has to offer, because we're assuming that you've not been there before, right? It's fair enough looking on Google, but it's just not the same. So go get your bearings. That will create familiarity. Look, you know what I'm trying to say. And then from there, you can establish your safe places. So what I mean by that is you can establish, okay, this place looks good to eat. That is if you're ever stuck and don't know what to do, where to go for food, that is a safe place that we can eat. This is a safe area, this is a safe space. It's familiar now because we've explored it, we've been around, we're starting to get our bearings. And as soon as you get a grasp on that, for me personally anyway, it becomes a lot easier to deal with the sort of stress of traveling. Like a big thing for me is not knowing the area and not knowing where to go and just feeling generally uncomfortable. And I think that relates to like maybe my social anxiety as well. Having the surrounding area be more safe and familiar to you instantly is going to be a massive win. Number 7, make sure you set aside quiet time for downtime and solo moments. So I can't stress enough, even if you're with a safe person, even if you're with a buddy, how important it is to have that quiet downtime for you to be able to decompress, shut down, sort of process all of the events and things that have happened in the day, but also just kind of recover from that as well. I feel like when I go out and we're traveling, it all impacts. You're kind of putting on this wall, you're putting on this face essentially, and you're trying to sort of survive. I get very fight or flight. I get put in a stressed state very easily, but being able to come back to your hotel or apartment or Airbnb or whatever you're staying in and just have some time to yourself, maybe you have a bit of self-care, maybe you have a nice long shower, however you sort of recuperate, allow yourself to do that. And if you need space, allow yourself to get space as well. Maybe you're a kind of person that thrives in the gym. Maybe go and spend an hour in the gym by yourself and just have that space where your brain can recover and your body can recover. And that's a massive thing for me as well. And I didn't actually learn that I needed this until this year, and I went on our big trip. And I think maybe if you don't even have ADHD, just having downtime is so precious, because people don't realize how exhausting it can be to travel. So it's always really important to just make sure that you're checking in with yourself and just coming back to yourself and asking yourself how you feel and taking those peaceful moments where you can get them. And we are on to tip number 8, and I think this is probably one of the best travel tips I can provide. ADHD or not, it is the foolproof travel tip. And you might not think about it, maybe if you're a travel person you'll already know it, but download Google Maps. And a lot of people don't actually know you can download Google Maps so you can use them offline. So you can download them straight from Maps, the specific area that you want. So you don't have to download like the world map, but for the specific area you're staying, if you want to know what's local and you don't know if you can rely on Wi-Fi or 4G, whatever service or provider you use, and even if you can rely on those, just to have it as a backup so you're not caught short or off guard and then end up getting really overwhelmed because you don't know where you are and what you need to do. It's very easy to panic, especially when you're in a place that you're not familiar with. So always having that as a backup is just incredibly invaluable. I can't even tell you how many times we've been to a place and we've gone and then we were like, why did we not download maps before? Because that would have been so useful right now. Because every time we end up forgetting, and every time we always end up saying that. So honestly, if you take anything away from this, just be prepared, get Google Maps, you haven't got anything to lose. So that is all of my tips, guys. I hope you found this useful. These are personally what works for me and what have worked over the years of traveling and the things that I found out about myself and what I personally need. If you have any more tips, then please do put them down below, because you never know who you might be helping just by popping that comment down there. And if you have appreciated this video and would like to help me out, then make sure you give me a massive thumbs up and do subscribe so you can keep up to date with all of the content that I am posting here. It doesn't cost anything, it's completely free. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I look forward to seeing you beautiful people in my next video.